is a decimal fraction. A decimal fraction is a fraction whose denominator is 10 or the higher power of 10, and the numerator can be any number. Here the example can be 3 by 10, 23 by 100, 157 out of 1000, or 765 by 10,000. The numerator can be any number, okay, but the denominator has to be 10 or higher power of 10. That is, it can be 100, 1000 or 10,000. That means it needs to be like 1 and zeros. Okay. So let's look at the other fractions like 4 by 5. Is this 4 by 5 a decimal fraction then? You must be saying, no, this is not a decimal fraction, because the denominator clearly is not 10 or the power of 10. So here we can see that the fraction is 4 by 5, where 5 is in the denominator. Thus we can say it's not a decimal fraction. But this 4 by 5, if we multiply this fraction with 2 by 2, and when you are multiplying a fraction by any other fraction, these two numbers in the numerator and denominator has to be same. So here I am multiplying by 2 and multiplying both the numerator and denominator by 2. That means I am multiplying the fraction with 1, which will not change the value of the fraction 4 by 5. So multiplying any number with 1 will not change the value of that particular number. So in this case also, a fraction if multiplied by 1, then the fraction will remain unchanged. So 4 by 5, when you multiply it with 2 by 2, then the result comes out to be 8 by 10. And 8 by 10 is a decimal fraction because the denominator contains 10. Thus 8 by 10 becomes a decimal fraction. This means that 4 by 5 is also a decimal fraction, because 4 by 5 can be easily converted in terms of the denominator with 10 or the power of 10. So let's look at the similar example, 7 by 20. Here the denominator contains 20, which is not the power of 10, but 7 by 20 can be easily converted into a fraction which will contain the denominator equal to the power of 10. So multiply this with 5 by 5, and thus the result obtained will be equal to 35 by 100, which shows that the denominator is the power of 10. So 35 by 100 becomes the decimal fraction, and thus we can say that 7 by 20 is also a decimal fraction. Next, let's look at converting the decimal into fractions. So here we have a decimal number 1.75, which we need to convert in terms of a fraction. So we'll write this 1.75 as 175 without the decimal point, and in order to replace this decimal point, we will draw the line of fraction and we'll write 1 and zeros. But before that, you check that after decimal, how many digits are there? So there are 2 digits after the decimal point. So we'll replace this decimal point with 1, and since there are 2 digits after the decimal, we'll write 2 zeros in the denominator. So that will be 100. So 1.75 is equal to 175 by 1 and 2 zeros, because 2 digits has to be replaced by 2 zeros. So 175 by 100, if you convert it into the lowest term by dividing both the numerator and denominator by 25, we will get the result as 7 by 4, which is the required fraction. So 1.75, the decimal, gets converted into the fraction 7 by 4. Next example, we have a decimal number 0.008. Now we have to convert this into the fraction. So 0.008 we'll write as 8 in the numerator, and in the denominator we'll replace this point with 1, and after the decimal point there are 3 digits, so there should be 3 zeros. So that will be 1 and 3 zeros, that is 1000. So 8 by 1000, if you convert it into the lowest term by dividing both the numerator and denominator by 8 itself, then the result will be 1 by 125. So this is the required fraction. Next is converting the fraction into decimal. So here a fraction is given 36 by 100, which is a decimal fraction. So 36 by 100, directly we can convert a decimal fraction into a decimal number. So that's why this kind of fraction is called a decimal fraction. So simply we'll write the numerator 36 as 36, and we'll count the number of zeros down there in the denominator. There are 2 zeros, and in this number also we will count the digits. Since there are 2 zeros, we will count the 2 digits from the right hand side. So from here 1, and from here 2. So 1 and 2, and here also there are 2 zeros. So 2 digits, therefore you have to put the point in front of 3. That will be 0.36 will be the required decimal number. Similarly, let's understand this with the help of another example. We have 75 by 1000. We need to convert this into decimal without dividing directly. So we'll write down this numerator 75 this way, and we'll count the zeros down there in the denominator. There are 3 zeros. So there are 3 zeros, then we'll count the digit from the right hand side. 1, 2. Since there are only 2 digits, we'll add one more zero so that it becomes 3 digits. So 1, 2 and 3. That means there should be a point in front of this 0 out here. So the answer becomes 0.075, which is the required decimal number. Next we have another example, 14 by 25. First we'll convert this decimal fraction in terms of the fraction with the denominator equal to 100. So for that we'll multiply both the numerator and denominator by 4 by 4. Okay, so when you multiply 14 with 4, you'll get 56, and when you'll multiply 25 with 4, you'll get 100. So 56 by 100 is the required decimal fraction. Now you have to convert this into the decimal number. So just like the earlier case, we'll write down 56. Okay, we'll count the number of zeros down there. There are 2 zeros. So from the right hand side, we'll count the 2 digits 1 and 2. That means there should be the decimal point in front of 5. So 0.56 will be the required decimal number. Next example is 4 3 by 5. So it's a mixed fraction. 4 3 by 5 is equal to 23 by 5, that is the improper fraction. Now 23 by 5 can be written as 2 by 2. 23 by 5 is multiplied by 2 by 2, which results in 46 by 10. Now 46 by 10, again we'll write 4 and 6, and we'll count the number of 0 down there in the denominator. Since there is only 1 0, so counting the digit from the right hand side, there is 1 0, so count only 1, and there should be the decimal point in front of 6. So your answer is 4.6. So this way we can convert the fractions into decimals or the decimals into fraction.